You know when they advertise a car and they encourage you to buy it, and then they do crazy stunts and then the footnote at the bottom says, don't try this at home? This is kind of like our story. I think it may come across as an extreme example, though, of the changing of two lives as a result of the work of the Good Samaritan Shelter. My name is Hillary.
And my name is Justin. 3 years ago today, I was homeless at the age of 19. And also a resident of the Good Samaritan Shelter. I had no family I could count on. My biological mother died when I was very young. And my grandmother, who raised me, died the month I graduated from Phoenixville Area High School. I'd been in a near-fatal car accident, and my life was basically a mess.
3 years ago, I was a volunteer at Good Samaritan Shelter, a former board member, handling mainly facilities issues. Married over 20 years without children of my own, but I had volunteered with teenagers in Phoenixville for over 20 years.
3 years ago, I felt lonely, betrayed, and unloved by the remainder of my biological family. I was forced to fend for myself, and at that time, I also became homeless with no place to go. Good Samaritan Shelter gave me a foundation I could build upon by letting me through the doors and giving me a temporary roof over my head. It also gave me advisors in Nate and Tim who cared about me and a place to lay my head at night. During this time, I was able to find a job at Acme Markets with a solid source of income for food and some bills. But it wasn't enough. I wanted more. I then decided to join the U.S. Army for more stability, both financially and educationally. My real desire, however, was to be a college student, but I had no means to do so at the time.
3 years ago, a fire inspection was due at the shelter. I went in with my clipboard ready to go. Nate asked a young man, this one, who happened to be in the office at the time, if he would mind helping me. It's always good to have a male along to inspect the houses in case someone's in their undies.
I agreed to help, and while we worked over the next hour, I shared my story with her. I thought she was nice, but I also thought she would be just another person who would come and go in my life.
I could not get over that someone this young had suffered this many losses and was in a predicament like this. And the thought of him entering the Army with no one to support him kept me up at night. My husband Eric and I met Justin for lunch to get to know him a little more.
Shortly after that, Nate and Tim sat me down in their office. I found out Hillary and Eric would be willing to have me stay within their household until I had to leave for the Fort Leonard, Missouri for basic training. I felt shock, reluctance, and also overwhelmed by the compassion and love that was being offered. I had no idea what I was getting into.
I had no idea what I was getting into. About 10 days before he was to begin basic training, I picked him up from the shelter. We loaded about 4 trash bags into my SUV. This was the entirety of his worldly possessions.
About 2 days before I left for basic training, I asked Hillary, what is our relationship? Is it over when I go to basic? Are you my friend? I was afraid she'd say aunt, because my actual aunts, quite frankly, are not very nice.
I admitted to him that I was beginning to think of him as the son I never had.
I admitted to her that I was beginning to think of her as my mom, even though I never really had a mom I knew or remembered much. And then I left for the Army.
There were tears, buckets of them. Then there were letters received and letters written. From Missouri to Pennsylvania, I would send scriptures and encouragement and stories of my everyday life and my past, and he did the same. Both of us loved to write, so that was helpful.
5 months later, in May of 2011, I graduated as a combat engineer from the U.S. Army basic training and advanced training. Thank you. As we soldiers searched the crowd for their family members who had flown in from around the country, I remembered all of the letters of encouragement and little packages sent and felt so blessed not to experience this event alone. Then I found her and gave her a big hug that made her pee her pants.
At 50,000. When a moment of pride and joy and accomplishment and an unbreakable bond.
3 months later, I was in Afghanistan.
Another test. 7 months of worry, Skyping, packages. I never in my life thought that I would be an army mom to someone who was deployed blowing up IEDs halfway around the world.
In February 2012, I came home from Afghanistan. No big deal, but I ended up on the front page of the daily local newspaper. Shortly after, I went back to Fort Leonard Wood and was based there until I was given an early discharge this past spring with a back injury from deployment. My unit is currently deployed in Afghanistan currently, and I feel very blessed to be here today as a veteran. I got a job right away, and I have my own apartment, a car, my own future, my own furniture, air conditioner, bed, and some nice clothes. Thank you, Eric, wherever you are amongst the crowd. Oh, there you go. Okay. And I'm obviously very well fed too, you can tell. I entered college in the fall with a scholarship based on my writing. I'm a full-time college student with a major in communications, with the goal of being a film director and also a screenwriter/author.
We share a very, very strong faith. There have been great struggles, but we have truly seen miracles happen, needs met, unexplainable blessings, and are not ashamed to say we depend on Jesus every day, a day at a time. There are 3 of us standing on this podium. We would not be here without him.
When people ask us how this happened or why, our only answer really is that it is a God thing. I was rock bottom. I honestly felt like I was trapped underneath an unmovable rock where no one could see me or hear my cries for help. Now I find myself a veteran, a full-time college student. The key was, I found a saving grace, a foundation, and a newfound family, including a Chinese grandmother who would have thought. Which truly dug me out of the pit that I found myself in. And after all the struggles of homelessness and the endurance of the Army, I now find myself a student, aspiring to my dreams. What else could you ask for? And it all came about because I was given a place to stay at the Good Samaritan Shelter. Which also allowed me to come in contact with staff and members of the community who volunteered at the shelter and genuinely cared about me and the others there. And so today, my name is Justin Crowell, and this is my mom.
I'm not a miracle worker, just a volunteer with a willing heart to serve God and others. Giving financially and volunteering time can provide intersections and opportunities for relationships one might not expect. Don't be afraid, it probably won't be this extreme, but the hand of God will be present in it. And so today, my name is Hillary Z, and I'm humbled to say this is my precious beloved boy.